Hello! Welcome to this week's reading vlog, which will cover January 15th up through January 21st. Now let's see how it goes. Monday, January 15th. Pretty productive day. I've read a little bit of Volume 4 of Attack on Titan. I'll be finishing that tomorrow. And the plan for this week is to finish up The Pariah by Anthony Ryan, the first installment in the Covenant of Steel trilogy. It's like, so far it has like a grimdark feel, definitely. It's pretty humorous. It also has some Robin Hood-like tropes with some political upheaval. Pretty interesting stuff so far. And I want to read a little bit of Grave Peril, the third installment in the Dresden Files. So pretty productive week I have planned, but we never know how that's going to actually play out because life is very different than what we have planned. I'm pretty happy that I got done filming a book review video for Soulsmith, the second installment of Cradle. It was a little rough, but I think it'll work. Wednesday. So I'm reading The Pariah, and I finally hit that inertia point. And what I mean by inertia point is there comes a time in every book where you get to the point where it's no longer a chore to read, where the author has set up what this story is kind of going to be about. And up until that point, you're kind of guessing, like, is this really the story for me? I've reached that inertia point. I'm very excited for the story The Pariah has become. About 25% through the book. It's about 560 pages. You kind of get an idea of where the story is heading. And I'm very much enjoying it. It's such a brutal read. It's very gritty. It's dark. It's a lot of heinous things are happening. The protagonist, the main character, is not a good person. And he knows he's not a good person. He's constantly talking about the other, members of this gang of bandits and cutthroats and thieves and murderers. And he's like, I love these people. We're a family. But they're horrible individuals. And that's just real. You think, the bad people in your life you're not going to like. But sometimes, the familiar, loving feelings you have towards somebody kind of supersedes how they objectively are. And I kind of like how our protagonist, our narrator, is kind of like, he's conflicted in how he views the people around him. One thing that at first was really bugging me, but I'm actually starting to enjoy, that's a stylistic choice from the author. The narrator of the story, and main character, is constantly hinting that bad things are going to happen to certain characters. That regrets he has, that how he wish he killed this character, or he wish he said this. And you'd think that would kind of take away some of the surprise for the story. And maybe it does, but it's adding a certain level of tension because the author is putting a focus on certain parts of the story that makes that the reader finds themselves like overly fixated on. So I'm not sure if he's like, yo, focus on this so he can surprise me of something else, because he's already foreshadowed things and things have already came to pass that are like relating to those foreshadowings. It's done in a very masterful way. I'm definitely really digging Anthony Ryan's writing style. Thursday, January 18th. Just got done filming a nice YouTube short about T. Kingfisher's 9 Goblins, one of my favorite novellas from last year. It almost made my top 10 list off of cuteness and ridiculousness alone. Very easy video to film. So I'm reading The Pariah today, and the author does a very good job at describing how when you're growing up in a pretty bad situation, or when you're being taken advantage of by people you consider authority figures, at the time, it doesn't seem like that. It's one of those things where experiencing it just seems normal, but looking back on it, it's quite horrifying. And as our narrator's telling the story of his past, you get the sense that he knows now that things weren't right. But during those moments, during the time he was living those things, it just seemed like the only thing to do. It seemed like the right thing to do. And this is definitely going to be a triggering read if you're somebody that was manipulated by adult figures while you were growing up. Because, yeah, this book got me thinking. Saturday, January 20th. Today was a really, really good reading day, but kind of an annoying, sad day on the personal front. So watch Sean Strickland attempt to defend his title. He lost a very close decision to Dricus du Plessis. And I probably would have given it to Sean Strickland, but I'm biased. This is why I can't watch fights live, because there's all the emotions and I can't analyze it or watch it analytically, but I have to study that film. But yeah, got to watch a teammate of mine lose a title fight in a closely contested decision. So that was lame on the personal front. On the reading front, Anthony Ryan, he can really write. The Pariah might be the best first installment in a series I've ever read. This series talks about has a commentary on so many of my interests like philosophy, friendship, family, trauma, revenge. There's a lot of commentary on religion and organized religion versus spirituality. There's he definitely takes a lot of inspiration from religious history and Christendom. There's a whole schism between basically the book's equivalent of the Protestants and the Catholics and Orthodox, and there's martyrs, and there's church politics, and is our main character a believer? We don't know. He's kind of not sold on the whole religious thing, but he sees a lot of miraculous things happening. There's so many twists and turns, many of which I did not anticipate. There's such an amazing read. 60 pages left, and I have no idea where this series is going to go. I'm going to have to expedite this series. I'm definitely going to be finishing this before June's over, because such an amazing start to a trilogy. I started another book today, even though I thought I was going to focus on Grave Peril. I got the audiobook 2 days ago, so I'm going to binge Grave Peril next week as I'm reading one of my other priority reads and finishing up as much as I can of Attack on Titan. But the new book I started was Foster by Claire Keegan. And this book is about a girl who's being taken in by foster parents, and she's experiencing love and attention and stability for the first time. And she's opening up, and it's pretty critically acclaimed little long short story. It's between a short story and a novella in terms of length. And I've heard some good things about this. It's award-winning and pretty good stuff hitting me in the feels. So great reading day. Not the best personal day. Sunday, January 21st, was a very productive, good day. On the personal front, I went to a baby shower for one of my best friends, and it was nice to see a lot of old faces, seeing old friends I haven't seen for some time. That's always good. On the reading front, even better day. Finished The Pariah. Amazing ending to the book. The last 60 pages indeed did not ruin it, but made me very much want to pick up the next installment of this series very soon. So that'll definitely be a priority read for February. This might be the fastest I've ever finished a series. If I love the second book as much as I love the first, I might finish the series before March is done. So that'd be kind of cool. Foster by Claire Keegan. I understand why it's well acclaimed. I understand why it won some awards, but it was kind of incomplete for me. It was between a short story and a novella in length, and I'm like, oh, I would have loved to have a little bit more of this. But the ending sentiments were quite beautiful. It was a beautiful story, just not exactly my cup of tea. So a good novella that just probably isn't attuned to my taste. So this week was pretty dang good, even though most of it I was just talking about The Pariah. But to be fair, this is probably, if I was going to spend an entire week pondering about one book, The Pariah is a very, very good read to ponder about. Finished Foster by Claire Keegan, and 60 pages, or 60-ish pages of manga. The page count for this week is 660 pages, and only 84 of those pages are manga pages. So, yeah, pretty productive week, despite all that was getting done. So, yeah. Next week, I'll be finishing up Dresden Files, and probably reading a bunch of Attack on Titan, and some other smaller reads, and I'll be planning out what I'm going to be focusing on the month of February for. So very happy with this week, but I think next week will be even better. Thank you guys for watching this week's reading vlog, and I'll see you guys next time.